Sorry, guys. Capricorns, I'm sorry to begin by coughing. Let's get into this. We're going to take a look at the topic of love. We have got the Queen of Pentacles. There's Capricorn right out of the gate. Excuse me, guys. I'm coming down off of a big old asthma flare up, so forgive me. You know how it gets. But I'm much, much, much less coffee than I have been. So we've got this Capricorn coming in next with the Devil card. When it comes to love, we have consistency, at least as far as like how Capricorn feels about themselves in their own life, right? Capricorn stands here and they're like, I have done beautiful things in my life. I love, what I have manifested for myself. I've worked hard to get to where I am. I feel like this Capricorn can hold their head up high. It's like they're being truthful with themselves. They know they have a beautiful foundation. They know how to be honest with themselves. And I think Capricorn's done a lot of good in their life for other people. I don't know that they realize how much like the good works that they do impact others. And I say that because we have all these tulips that are part of her dress, and they're kind of, they're massive. But Capricorn's, head up high, looking out to their future, not realizing they've also done a lot of good with the actions that Capricorn has already put forth in their life. So first off, well done, Capricorn. But in a more realistic way, Capricorn is like, I feel stable. I feel great. Now, I love myself, and I know how to love myself properly. At the same time, though, there is this Capricorn knows their weaknesses too. This is a Capricorn who does not pull any punches about who they are. They're like, I'm good, I'm solid, I'm secure, but I can and have, because we all have, right? I have fallen into someone's honey trap before, for sure. I have been, like captivated by someone who maybe was not the best for me. But oh man, I wanted that person. I wanted that love story. I wanted it to be, healthy and wonderful. And it was the opposite of that. But I still, attached myself and said, no, let this become healthy and wonderful. And perhaps it didn't. And I think Capricorn has known that as well, which to me, that's just kind of like a rite of passage sometimes, when we get to the point of knowing ourselves really well and we want the best and we fall for somebody who has good traits and the potential is there, but maybe they really aren't the right match for us. And I think there's just something to be said for being like a mature enough person to say, I wish that things were different, but they aren't. And I acknowledge that I'm clinging to the wish that things were, more viable than what they really seem to be. So I think Capricorn is just very honest with themselves. I don't think that Capricorn is necessarily attached to a fantasy type love story right now. I just think that they're saying, I did that once before. I know that I have the capacity to hope for something that maybe is not possible, but I don't see that that's what's happening now for Capricorn. We have a returning soulmate. We do have, we're still in retrograde period, right? Right now until August the 10th, we're still in Mercury retrograde. So there could be a returning soulmate. And sometimes, people pop back into our lives, more mature, different, more evolved. And I'm not even saying that I think it's the same person that Capricorn's like, oh, I fell for somebody once upon a time, got a little hooked on them, and they weren't that good for me. I don't think it's the same person. There's many soulmates in life. Here's the way I look at this. And please remember, I'm a fictional storyteller, so all of this is just storytelling. But the concept that if we say the word soulmate, it's that there's like, collection of different souls that we keep, kind of like returning with, and we go through lessons together. It's like the other kids that we're going through the school of life with, in the eyes of the cosmos, we're all just kids, right? And we're all in this big classroom called life. And this is like our grade that we're graduating with, and we're going through and we're evolving with, and we're going to the next classroom with, and the next, period of, now it's time for history. Now it's time for math. I feel like there's a collection of souls that Capricorn has learned different lessons with, has learned about themselves through those connections with other people. And now there's a soulmate coming in that Capricorn can start learning the lesson of like amazing, balanced, like equal love story. This is a marriage on the horizon. There is a soulmate coming into Capricorn's life, but I just don't feel like it's the same soulmate that they learned a tougher lesson of, like, don't get tangled up in somebody's web, don't get latched on to something that isn't going to be successful. I think Capricorn knows the difference between the kind of soulmate that is going to help us to learn about ourselves and what not to do versus the kind of soulmate that's going to match our frequency, and together we're going to build stuff. Like, okay, let's go back to the analogy of us being in a classroom, and let's say it's like, hey, we could be friends with that kid in class that we're gonna, cut class and skip out the back and get into trouble with, or we could choose to, like, say, oh, I've got this really important science project coming up. There's, a kid in class they like all the same sciencey stuff that I do. We're going to be partners, and we're going to make this the best science project anybody's ever seen. That's the kind of soulmate energy now. It's like, I'm going to build the best science project ever with somebody that really has the same interests, same, dedication to the project that I do, versus somebody that I'm going to go get into some trouble with. And again, I'm just trying to put it in the more palatable, less high stress energy. Obviously, we're talking about adults, right? Characters. But again, if in the eyes of the universe, we're all kids in a classroom learning about life, then we are children of the cosmos. We're doing the best we can, and we're going to learn tough lessons, and we're also going to learn good lessons, or I'll just say lessons on how to, like, maybe make tremendous progress. And that's what's coming in next for our Capricorn. This looks really good. This looks like, I feel like somebody is going to really lift Capricorn spirits, and vice versa, because we see the balloons up high. We have, I don't know if they're going to be moving into, I always think of this as like an Italian villa. If Capricorns wanted to meet a partner and they would like to share the journey of, like, let's move to Italy, let's buy a piece of property, let's renovate it, let's live a whole different life. Whatever the greatest wish, the most elevated wish has been for Capricorn, that's the partnership that's coming in. Somebody who will share that vision, share that wish with them, and build this as well. We have a 3 of Wands. It's about the person I can dream of building a future with. Capricorn's going to be moving. They're going to be moving out of a city, out of a town, because of this new soulmate who is coming in or coming back into Capricorn's life. Now, there could also be that Capricorn is the one about to move and end up back in, let's say Capricorn is moving back to the village that they came from, the town that they came from, the smaller, it feels like Capricorn could be leaving a big city and maybe going back someplace that's a little bit more green, maybe someplace that, there's like, oh, there's a family home that's kind of, rural or something. It could be that Capricorn is the one moving or changing something in their life in the next 3 months and moving back. And that's where they're going to reconnect with an old soulmate, someone that maybe they knew, when they were kids. Maybe this is like, oh my gosh, we literally went to school together. We were friends in 4th grade, 7th grade, high school. And then we go out into the world and we're adults and we're learning lessons. And then eventually life cycles us back around. And here we are meeting each other again. Maybe that's why I had that image of, like, people in the cosmic classroom. Wow. Emperor energy. I feel like Capricorn's going to be very impressed by someone who they used to know, who has now made some significant progress in their own life, in who they are and how they have, I don't know, this could be somebody who, like, runs a fairly big company, even if it's in a smaller town. They may have quite a few employees, or they, have created something where they have a lot of responsibility. Whomever this is, could be an Aries, doesn't have to be. I thought my baby was there. I thought I heard my Aries. We have a 4 of Cups and a Page of Wands. I don't know if Capricorn will have ever known this, but this is somebody who's carried, like, a torch or a longing for Capricorn for a long time. This is somebody who maybe throughout the years has watched Capricorn, checked up on Capricorn from time to time, wanted to know how Capricorn was doing once in a while. I could see them being someone who was kind of bummed out when Capricorn left, and went someplace else. And I'm thinking it's been quite a chunk of time since Capricorn last saw this individual. This could be like such a crazy blast from the past. Capricorn would not have expected this. Even moving back to an old town that we used to be in, or, you know, sometimes life just strangely takes us in different places where we're living in a different city, but we encounter somebody that we once upon a time knew. I keep feeling though somebody's coming back to an area that they were originally from. In this storyline, that's what we've got, so we're going to go with it. I just can't 100% say, do I really think it's Capricorn who moves back to a town that they originally lived in or used to live in, or if it's the other person. This makes me think it is Capricorn coming back, and that it turns out this soulmate, this emperor, has, unbeknownst to Capricorn, felt really bummed out when Capricorn left to, go out into the big, huge world. They had looked at Capricorn a couple different times online, had kind of kept tabs on Capricorn a little bit. It was like, man, they're out there, exploring the world, Capricorn's done great things for themselves. They might have also seen Capricorn fall in love with somebody, marry somebody. They maybe didn't know that the person Capricorn ended up with had an awful lot of sharks in their belly. Capricorn, we can already see the hint that Capricorn did fall for somebody at one point in time who, there was some kind of a, the spider's web here. And I'm thinking that this could have been Capricorn was in love with somebody, possibly a water sign. Whomever this emperor was kind of saw this play out from a distance and was kind of bummed. Oh, Capricorn, yeah, that person really loves Capricorn. They're happy together. They didn't know what was under the surface. I don't think that this emperor would have guessed that Capricorn might have had, what seemed to be perfect on the surface wasn't quite so perfect. And in fact, Capricorn has become single and has healed from the very situation that the emperor believes Capricorn had a happily ever after with. There's a lot Capricorn never said about what they went through. I don't see this as Capricorn coming back like, oh man, the cruel, hard world was tough on me. Now I'm, limping back home to the city that I used to live in. I don't see that in this story at all. I simply see a Capricorn who has, done their best to, explore, give their energy, live their best life, fall in love with someone, give their whole heart, and then recognize if something's not working, and then, work through that, heal from that. It's their life, it's their journey. They just haven't put that all on display. But interestingly enough, this emperor has watched Capricorn, has been like, wow, it's a bummer that, they found the love of their life. And, maybe secretly, I kind of always thought, Capricorn, if you're watching somebody, if that emperor is watching Capricorn, it's because they were obviously still feeling warm feelings, especially with that Page of Wands, right? That's a spark of attraction. Look, with this Knight of Swords, I think this is going to be a shock. This is sudden. It could be that Capricorn suddenly decides I'm making a trip back to where I used to live, or I've suddenly decided I'm moving back home. And it could be that they get the memo. They may hear it through the grapevine, like, whoa, wait a minute, Capricorn's single and they're moving back to town. This feels really exciting. This feels like somebody who is going to be so thrilled. And we keep seeing somebody pulling up their roots and moving. I keep thinking this is Capricorn. Of course, we can flip it the opposite side. We could say the exact opposite. It's them going through this, and it's them coming back into Capricorn's life. But I think that they're getting the memo. Capricorn has shifted something. This is that Six of Swords. It's actually moving into calmer waters. We have a lot of motion, positive motion in this storyline, and kind of like, ooh, these wishes are coming true. Two people who are soulmates are going to finally get their chance at a love story. And it is all because this is somewhere in the next, I always look at this as like 3 days to 3 months. There is this opportunity arising for Capricorn and this emperor to see each other again. In this story, it is decidedly somebody that Capricorn already knows. 10 of Wands. If these two did have any past, let's say they dated in college or something, there is a chance for them to like clear the air. This is going to feel really lighthearted for Capricorn and this Emperor to get to talk to each other again. It's going to feel really good to both of them, I think. King of Wands, World card, there's Capricorn again, and there's Knight of Pentacles. Now Aries really is here. This vibe of we've been on different sides of the world for a while. It's been a long, slow journey coming back around. This is Capricorn in their divine masculine energy as a feminine, by the way, because we have a feminine on this King of Wands card. This is like, you know what? Deep down in my heart, I had to do this whole like revolution. I had to go out, explore, do what I needed to do, and then come back, basically come back to town. Took me a while to take this journey, but I did what I needed to do. This is super exciting. This is super like warm-hearted energy. All of this just looks very happy for Capricorn. All of this is going to be like exactly the way they were supposed to go out and explore the world, have these other experiences with these other soulmates, or certainly that soulmate, the that King of Cups, who did love Capricorn, but they had some sharks in their belly. They had some problems that they probably brought into the connection. Capricorn worked through some of their issues. The King worked through some of their issues. And then they parted ways because they'd helped each other. They completed a journey. And now Capricorn's like coming around the mountain again and coming back into a different soulmate's life once more. And I think more excited, more joyful, more passionate, more mature. I feel like all of this is describing our Capricorn. They're more fearless in love on one hand, but more mindful about, you know, I think they can read people a lot better. But I do see Capricorn is going to be like very attracted to this Emperor, and obviously vice versa. Look at that. We have got, and I feel like it's almost going to be one of those things where these two, they click so well when they see each other after all this time. I feel like there's an initial like comfort zone between the two of them where it's like, oh my gosh. And maybe the Emperor is going to be really happy to hear Capricorn say, no, I went out into the world and I did the things that I needed to. I completed some journeys. I had another relationship that was, you know, important, and it was important for my growth. And that chapter has closed, and I've come full cycle back around to just like, God, I feel so happy now. I feel so like ready to live my best life. I feel like my heart is ready for something also. I think it's going to thrill this Emperor, because we got two people that are basically like relaxing into one another's energy here. But it's a strong bond that Capricorn has with this Emperor. Let me just ask one question from the Emperor's side. What how does the Emperor see Capricorn? Finally, our chance to write this love story. It's somewhere in the middle of our book of life, but finally I get to connect to my Capricorn. Finally, I get my Capricorn. This is I feel like the love that they didn't get to express a long time ago. There's no more blockages. There's no more barring this. They can finally just move forward in love. Oh, I love this. You guys, thanks for being here.